Hey guys, this is Tracy Lee at the Freedom Lifestyle. How's everybody doing tonight? I know it's Monday night, but I appreciate everybody being on my live tonight. Before we get started tonight, please hit the likes, comments, and subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell when to get content just like this when I go live next time. So tonight, make this a fast video if I can. I'm pretty tired today. I had a busy funding proposal afternoon. It's just how life is. But I hope everybody had a good day today. Today I just want to talk a little about mindset. Now, mindset's a pretty broad word, pretty broad subject. But I'm going to go back a little ways, back in time a little bit, back to when I just graduated from high school. It was about 1979. 7 of us guys that I graduated with decided we were going to take a snowshoeing trip in the winter of 1979. We were going to take a snowshoeing trip up in the Squally Glacier in Seattle, or in Washington, close to Seattle, Washington, up in the northern Cascades. This really hits home with me because our mindsets were, we were young, young and dumb, but we had on the outing that we went on, we had 2 of the fathers with us. One of my best friend's father and then another one of the guy's fathers went with us on this outing, and it was a snowshoeing outing. So we snowshoed up the Nisqually Glacier. Now this was something that we, hadn't ever done before. We had, plenty of survival gear and tents and packs and all that stuff. And we hiked most of the morning and all of the afternoon up until about 4 o'clock. We got to the base of the Nisqually Glacier and could not snowshoe any farther. So that's where we pitched our tents. There were 7 of us. We had 2 tents. We had 3 tents, but we couldn't set the other 2 up. Our hands and feet were so numb from climbing. It was pretty cold that afternoon. It was sunny, but it was cold. And we pitched our tents and buckled in for the night because it was going to be a pretty rough night. But by the time we got up to the base of the glacier, 2 of us, including myself, one of my other friends, Mike, he had 2nd degree hypothermia, or stages of the 2nd degree hypothermia, and I was going into the 2nd stages of hypothermia myself. So the 2 fathers that were on the trip knew this was happening, so they knew we had to do something very, very quickly. So they took me and they took the other guy, and we put us in the same tent, and they put us together with another couple people kind of sandwiched, in this tent to keep us warm, because that's the only thing that keep us warm. And your mind plays tricks on you when you get to that stage. Your mind plays tricks on you, and you have to always keep focusing forward in something like that, in a survival situation like that. It was cold. I was halfway delirious. My friend was halfway delirious. The other guys, the other younger guys, my buddies, were showing signs of hypothermia as well. And we knew it was a very, very bad situation because we had nightfall coming in and it was getting critical. I'd say about 7, 8 o'clock, it was already dark. Or getting dark. It was like basically dark. You could see the outlines of the mountains from the glacier when we were looking out into the valley, into the crevasse below. You could see the outlines of the mountains, but it was cold and it was windy. The temperatures dropped from 32 degrees down to about 15 degrees, 16 degrees above zero, and it just got really, 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 really horrible. Got really, really horrible, and so there was nothing we could do about it. There was nothing we could do. We just had to buckle in, buckle down, and hope for the best, and look out for the worst. It started snowing. It was really, really rude, a rude awakening as far as mindset goes. The only thing I could do was sleep. I couldn't do anything but sleep, and my mind was telling me, you have to keep going, you have to keep going. So I kept waking myself up. I'd say, about 11 o'clock at night, one of the guys woke me up and said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm okay. But I don't think I can go outside." But he said, we have to go outside for a minute and hook the um, propane stoves. We had these white gas stoves that we were using to heat water, and that's what we did. We went out and heated water, and I went out with a blanket on so that I wouldn't freeze to death. And and we heated this water and kept drinking warm water. That way it kept our brains going. And the other guys were really getting bad too. They were crying, and it was just a really bad situation. And that was just something that happened to me when I was younger. But I can tell you that there was a situation right then. I knew that I had to alleviate that pain. I had to go out. I had to cook that water, not just for me, but for everybody. And so they could add, whatever they wanted to it, tea bags, and we had tea bags and stuff like that. It was the only thing we could do. There was no other way. And it was 16 degrees, and it got even colder. It got about 10 degrees that night, with the wind chill factor of about 6. And so here we are. It's like 1:30 in the morning. The next morning, I'm getting really bad. I'm into the 2nd degree of hypothermia, and my other buddy was really, really critical. He was sandwiched in the other tent between the other guys. We just were told by one of the fathers to just buckle down and just stay in your bag. Don't get out, and just check him. Check the guys every 5 to 15, 20 minutes or whatever. And luckily we slept. Instead of getting up the next morning, we couldn't get up the next morning. The leaders couldn't get up in the morning either. It was so cold we couldn't get up, so we slept for 16 hours straight. And after that, it was like when we woke up on the next day, it was 16 hours later. It was the same day, but it was late. It was about 11:30, 12. I can't remember the time. I was so out of it. I couldn't remember. But I remember my mind saying, "You got to get up. You got to get moving." So strangely, I pulled myself together. Even having 2nd degree hypothermia, pulled myself together and got my friend out of his bag, and we went outside and started cooking water again. And they're going, "What are you doing? Get back in here! Get back in here!" And we said, "No, we're gonna hike out of here. We got to get out of here now, or everybody's gonna die up here. It's not a good thing. We weren't prepared for this, and you have to do what you have to do, and use the tools that you have to move forward and get the heck out." And that's exactly what we did. And I heated water for everybody. I made tea for the morning, and everybody was, filled their bottles and stuff with hot tea, and we slapped our shoes on, got our packs up, hiked our shoes on. We got hiking down the mountain. Once we got hiking, we started feeling better. Our blood started pumping, and we started feeling better. I was still sick though. Hypothermia is a really, really bad thing. You don't want to ever get it. Trust me, you don't ever want to get it. My toes were numb, like frostbite. My fingers were numb. I couldn't feel my hands. Every time I tried to touch something, it was like just touching a bare post or something. You couldn't touch anything. You couldn't feel it. Your fingers couldn't move. But somehow I managed. Somehow they managed, and we got down the hill that day. But the moral of the story is, hey, you have to use your mind in certain situations. And it's really funny how your mind works. Your mind is there, and when your consciousness tells you, hey, you got to move, you move. And it's really what your subconscious is saying, no, stay. But in those situations, we thought like entrepreneurs, and we adapted to the surroundings that we were in, and we finally made it down to the car. And we were sick, we were throwing up. It wasn't a good situation. I don't ever want to go through that again, and I never have since. I've been up several times in the snow, and done hikes like that before since then, and never had a problem with it before. I mean, I've gotten wet and stuff like that, but I'm comfortable. But I never let that happen again, and I learned from that. So you can learn from this as far as value goes. you know, your mind is a very tricky thing. If you tell it one thing, it's going to do another. And in that situation, I had to move forward in what I was doing, because if I wouldn't have done what I did, I would have died, and that's a fact. So, you know, turning that into a mindset deal is really, it's really awesome, because I think back on that now, and I'm just being transparent with you. Um, if I wouldn't have done what I did, I would have died, period. And so probably would my friend, and who knows what would happen to the other guys. You know, they were really bad off too. Even the fathers that went with us were really struggling. They were hurting bad, you know, and it was like, 10 degrees is nothing to mess with a wind chill of 6. And it was pretty stupid, and we look back on that and we knew it was stupid, so we never did that kind of thing again. But anyhow, so the same way goes for your marketing. If you don't, you're doing something really, I don't know, you think you're doing it right, but you're really not, and then it doesn't work out right for you. You got to learn from that lesson, and we learned from that lesson, and we never did that again. So same goes for your marketing. If you're not, if you don't, something doesn't work out right for you and it goes really horribly wrong, learn from that lesson and turn it around, and figure out what you need as far as to alleviate your pain to move forward in your business. And that's how I see it. But anyhow, so that was just one of the little stories of my my past. I've got quite a few more that I'll come on and give you some insight on from my past. I just had my 59th birthday in July. I'm 59 years old now. I was born 7/11/1961. But anyhow, that was some of the fun stuff that happened. But I've got some other stories that I can tell you that kind of relate to marketing as well. So, but anyways, I appreciate everybody being on my live tonight. Have a good evening. I'm back to the funding proposal tomorrow. I will shoot out another video tomorrow, and I wish everybody was here. If you guys have any questions on what I talked about tonight, please hit the likes, comments, and subscribe button down below, and please hit the links down below, because they'll take you to a page where you can learn more about what I talked about tonight. So everybody have a blessed evening, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good night.